So you're considering sailing on the MSC Grandiosa. Well, they just moved it from the European market to the US market for the first time. So we decided to hop on board and see if it was ready for the US market. If you've Googled it, I'm sure you've seen the reviews that we have, some great and some terrible. So let's find out together right now what our experience was like on the 7-day sailing and if it's the right ship for you right now. So we're on board the MSC Grandiosa now, and we're gonna give you our honest review, the good, the bad, the truth, so that you can figure out whether or not you wanna spend your cold hard cash on sailing on this ship or a different ship, because that's what we do here. So quick overview, the MSC Grandiosa was built in 2019, and since then it has sailed in Europe and around the world, but has not been based out of a US port. So now that it's here in Port Canaveral, we decided to jump on board, give it a try, and see how it is. This ship sails with a capacity of over 6,300 guests, and that's too many guests. This ship, while it is big, that's just too many people for this ship. This ship should probably be sailing around 5,000 guests. What do you think?
It's very crowded, and a lot of the public places are all smushed in together, so there's not a lot of places for people to go.
Totally agree. I've also found that I don't feel like the ship is super easy to navigate. Now, one thing that my brother-in-law mentioned to us on this sailing was that it basically just dumps to the inside, right? But the hallways have tons of winding and twists and turns, even just getting to your stateroom. It's like a maze, like winding left turn, right turn, double back turns. Like, it's just not intuitive.
We're getting used to it. For us, usually within like the first day, maybe 2, we've got the ships down. It's what, day 5, going on day 6, and I feel like I've just now gotten a good grasp of the ship.
But minor inconvenience, the ship does have a lot of pockets and things pushed off to the sides of the main decks, so it is kind of very hard to find everything because you kind of need to be paying attention and looking for things on every single deck to know where things are going to be. So let's jump into reviewing the categories like we normally do. So let's start off with our favorite thing.
The food!
The food. So tell me about your experience with the food aboard Grandiosa.
It's a hit or miss. Mainly talking about the dinners. So like, for example, tonight we had the lamb. They nailed it. Other nights we've had steaks and they've kind of been hockey pucks.
So if you're on board and you're not Hola or Yacht Club or something of the like, you're gonna be in one of 2 main dining rooms. They are packed to the gills, and I gotta be honest with you, the service was subpar on this ship, and the food was like a 4.5, maybe on a good day. There were certain highlights, like tonight with the lamb was really, really good. But overall, I was just kind of really let down. And that's surprising because we just gave MSC a glowing review when we sailed on the seashore, which we thought was fantastic. And we were like, we don't understand why they get a bad reputation for food. The food on here has been great. Multiple times throughout dinner, we had ordered things and people got something completely different than what they ordered, or things just didn't show up. On night 2, we were at the table for 42 minutes before somebody came to get our drinks from the table. Then when they did get our drinks, they showed up, I was charged $21 for a Moscow Mule, which is incredible. Like, that's outrageous pricing for a Moscow Mule. And the drinks that we all ordered came in whiskey glasses, not like pint glasses or anything else. So they were basically half-size glasses. For $21, that was just unbelievable to me. I just felt like that was unacceptable. One of the other oddities at the main dining room was I kind of felt like the waitress expected us to know what we wanted to eat the moment we sat down. She would just walk up to you with her little book and be like, what do you want? We're like, we just got here. We don't even have the menu yet. Like, I don't know. Like, and so we'd scan the QR code, have to go through, and while we're trying to read it, she would come back, what do you guys want? We're like, what? We just got here 30 seconds ago. I don't know.
Yeah, every other cruise line we've been on, when we were on Seashore, they came in and said, hey, tonight's dinner is this is what we recommend, this and that. But this time, every single night, we sat down and immediately were asked what we want to eat. So that was very weird. We finally figured it out on day 6 that we need to study the menu before we go in, so we're ready to order.
Just odd to me. We've never quite had that experience. That's why I'm telling you, the service and the food in the main dining was really a letdown. Now, the marketplace buffet, on the other hand, the food was good, but it was a madhouse.
It was insane. So the complimentary dining is your marketplace, which is the buffet, and main dining. That's it. The app literally will tell you the busy times to avoid them if you don't want to pull your hair out, which I thought was a joke at first, but then when we were there the first day, it was free for all. Every man for themselves. Can't find a plate, you can't find food. It was nuts that first day.
And the problem with it telling you the busy times is like, it's the busy time for a reason. It's like, don't eat breakfast between 8 and 10. Don't eat dinner between 6 and 8. Well, that's when you want to eat breakfast, or that's when you want to eat dinner. It just makes no sense to me. It's packed. It was crazy. It was super hard to get around. Things were constantly empty on the buffet. It was a madhouse. It was pandemonium. I wasn't excited about it at all.
It wasn't, but we stuck with it. We did it, and their food was really good. I really enjoyed everything that I had on the marketplace buffet.
All right, moving on. So for the clientele on board MSC, they make no bones about it. You can Google this for yourself. They are looking for more of an international mixed family environment. And that's definitely what we have on board. Now, while they have relocated from Europe to the Americas, the ship is very, very heavy with different nationalities on board, different ethnicities, and that can lead to some oddities due to cultural customs and cultural norms, especially with things like courtesy and just moving out of the way when you stop instead of 10 of you stopping in front of everybody in the middle of the hallway, especially when the hallways have 12 turns to get through. You know, just odd things, it makes for a different atmosphere. You don't have that typical nicety generality that you would have on other cruise lines like we experience typically with Royal or Celebrity, sometimes even Carnival. You'll get that Virgin, you know. So just know that as long as you're okay with just a little bit of difference in cultural differences, that's going to be happening. So to finish off the clientele, because there are so many different people from different areas on board the ship, one thing I did notice that is really cool is that the staff at guest services all speak multiple languages. I'm not talking about 2 languages. They were speaking 4 and 5 languages. It was very impressive. And when I asked about it, they're like, well, yeah, we cater to an international audience, so we are required to speak multiple languages, which I thought was really cool. Now, having 6,000 people on this ship really stinks. Like, I hate it. If there was ever a time where I thought Thanos was right, it was while I was on this ship. Like, half these people need to disappear. Okay, let's talk about the entertainment on board the MSC Grandiosa. So the first night they had a production show that was okay. It was an ABBA tribute show, and both of the female lead singers were excellent in their own right. The main problem was they just didn't know how to harmonize. Their voices just did not go together at all. But individually, for their solo performances, they were fantastic.
No, 100%. The dancers were really good. And the singers, wow, when they did their solo songs, just amazing. But the second they came together, they didn't mesh. So hopefully they will grow into that. But first night, not a good hit.
Then we saw Rouge, which is like a Moulin Rouge style show. We've seen Moulin Rouge on Broadway, and I think it was really good.
They did a really good job with that.
It was an excellent show. The set was fantastic. The singing was excellent. The performers were excellent. I thought it was a hit. That was a 10 out of 10 for me. That was a great show.
Yes.
We also went to go see The Illusionist on board. I thought that was a great show.
Yeah.
He was really, really good. And you know, sometimes you feel like, okay, I've seen this trick before, but he would find ways to make it interesting and something new and exciting, which I thought was great. We also paid to go to the Carousel Lounge and see their Cirque du Soleil style shows. We saw Sweet. They also have another one called Strings. Sweet was a candy inspired show. I thought it was really good.
Oh, it was stellar. It was like just going to go see Cirque du Soleil, but on a ship. They were all fantastic, every single act.
Absolutely. There were trapezists and ribbon performers and people doing stunts on poles and flipping and acrobats and just all sorts of stuff. It was extremely entertaining and they were really engaging with the crowd. Our daughter loved it. She's 6 years old. So something like that would be great for young kids too. They just ate it up. And it included a drink. So for $18, the fact that you get admission into a production show and a free drink, I thought was great, considering drinks are $21 on board. Now, because this is a Christmas sailing, they also did this Santa extravaganza. It started off really cool. It was this whole like silent movie of Santa getting on board the ship. And then they reveal Santa on stage, and he's there to give every single kid on board a gift, which we were like, wow, this is gonna be really cool. And then it instantly devolved into pandemonium. It was crazy. Like, people were acting like this was the only Christmas gift they were gonna get. There was people pushing past us, trampling over kids, trying to get in line. The staff had no control of the situation. It was crazy. They overpacked the theater. It's like they didn't know how many kids were gonna be there. There was no organization at all. We ended up leaving just for safety reasons. We're like, we're gonna take our daughter out of here. This isn't worth it. She doesn't need the free teddy bear. We'll just buy it for her if she wants it that bad.
Right. It was not planned out. They tried to go by age groups, and then they realized that families have multiple age groups and they can't do that. And then they tried to have age groups on different sides. And then they had people sitting back down because they realized that wasn't going to work. So it was a fantastic idea, just poorly executed.
Agreed. Now, on board, there's also several other places to go be entertained. There's a lounge where they do Spanish music. There's a sky lounge where they do adults only. It's typically like jazz or softer music at night. It's live music, which is really nice. There's also multiple pools. So you have the main pool with multiple hot tubs, and you also have like the safari jungle pool. Then you also have a pool on the back, like an infinity pool, and a kids splash pad area with water slides. I mean, as far as like activities, there was a ton of stuff to do, tons of pool options, tons of places for the kids to go play. I thought that they knocked it out of the park with that.
Right. There was always something happening on the ship, and we did happen to hit some rough weather. So it was rocky, we were rolling, it was raining, and they would move things inside to the promenade. They would find a spot on the ship and move them. So like, for example, I did the country line dancing class in one of the espresso bars. So that was kind of funny. But we did a movie out on the pool deck with supper sort of deal.
On board Dore Meadland, the kids club has also been awesome. They're open for a ton of hours, pretty much almost all day straight, as opposed to Royal Caribbean's, which closes multiple times a day, which can be quite annoying, honestly. But this one has been great. They're open, so you can really plan your day pretty easily around that when your kid wants to go or when you think they should go, and then you can pick them up and go. Very easy, and our daughter has had a blast in the kids club. As a matter of fact, she's there right now because she would rather be there than here on her tablet, which is awesome, and I'm all for it.
Right, and they have lots of family activities on this ship.
They have.
All the time, and which is really cool, which I haven't noticed on other ships, is they'll have events that they will take the whole group to be a part of, to experience something and get them out of the room, especially if they're in there. And they'll even take them to not family dinners, but they'll take them to dinner if you want to go on a date night or something like that.
Yeah, they've definitely knocked it out of the park with the kids club. That's probably the highlight of the ship for me, is the kids club staff, and the way they run their kids club has been phenomenal. Now, in all honesty, if there was a downside to the kids club, it's the initial registration process. It is so archaic. Everybody piles into the gym, has to fill out hand papers, then there's 2 people with computers, and you have all these parents lined up with papers waiting to go, hand it to somebody with a computer to then manually type it in and then get a wristband. It took forever. What a terrible system. Come on, MSC, get it together. Get a tablet. Let's get this thing moving quicker. That's the one gripe I have with the kids club. Otherwise, awesome. Moving on to the drinks. So I've already told you about my $21 glass for a Moscow Mule in a whiskey glass. So that was the last alcoholic drink I bought at a bar or a cocktail, because I'm not paying $21 for a mixed drink. That's just pure insanity. But we did go to the chocolate bar multiple times, and in the chocolate area, you can get alcoholic hot chocolate drinks, which are cheaper than $21.
Yeah.
And they were great desserts. So we often skipped dessert in the main dining room and went down there and had those drinks instead. The staff in that chocolate area was fantastic, extremely polite, extremely friendly, super helpful, and the drinks were honestly really good. And some of the chocolates that they let us sample were outrageous. Like, that is a hit. The John Philippe chocolate area is just awesome.
And don't forget, they have the gelato, they have crepes. I know that's not so much drinks, but you can get milkshakes, you can get smoothies there. Everything was fantastic.
Yeah, so definitely go down there, check that area out. There's a lot to offer there. It is paid, so it's not included, but the prices I felt were fair. and it was really good. And in the John Philippe chocolate area, there's a bunch of cool chocolate sculptures that they have, and they're like timely themed. So there was still one there from Halloween, and then there was a bunch of Christmas stuff made, like a full-size nutcracker made out of chocolate. Just cool stuff to go see, go check it out. Side note, don't go buy an alcoholic hot chocolate right there because it's outside of the theater and think you're gonna take it to the theater, or any drink for that matter, because that's exactly what we did the first night. And when we got to the theater, they were like, there are no drinks allowed in the theater. You'll have to stand here and finish that before you're allowed in. So we had to down our alcoholic hot chocolate. Not how I wanted to do it the first night, but lesson learned, and we didn't do that moving forward. And speaking of problems with the theater, I have one more main problem, and it's honestly more of a safety concern than anything. There is one way in and one way out of the theater. They pack this theater full on some of these show nights. We literally had people sitting next to us in the stairwell going down towards the theater, people standing along the walls, people standing along the back. It was way over capacity. Obviously, God forbid there had been an emergency, it would have been extremely hard to get out of there, especially because everyone has to funnel back up through the same two doors that you entered through. But the problem became is outside of that is the promenade. And every single night as we were getting out of a theater show, they decided to have another show going on in the promenade, and it was like roped off and you couldn't get by, you couldn't get through. It turned into like this mosh pit mob mentality, trying to like weasel your way through people to get to somewhere. It's a terrible setup. That many people should not be allowed in the theater. Once they're at occupancy, they should be at occupancy, and they should not hold something outside of the theater when the theater is dismissing a theater full of people. So do better on that, MSC, sorry. All right, so what are your overall thoughts on the stateroom?
They're skinny. That's the biggest first impression as you get into the rooms, is they are very tight. They're not very wide rooms, they are long. Everything is very compact, and to kind of account for that, there's lots of mirrors, but that's okay. We survived. Everything else was comfy.
Yeah, the styling choice is kind of odd to me. This like burgundy color just feels very old, and the carpet's that color, the drapes are that color, the headboard's that color. So try to mix it with like this modernish grayish wood, just it feels odd. It feels like they're trying to like revitalize an old ship, even though the ship is only from 2019. So odd choice, but if you want to see what the full room looks like, we'll do a room tour. We'll have the video card up at the top of the screen here for you guys to click on when it's live. Overall, MSC Grandiosa, final thoughts laid out there.
It has grown on me throughout the week. When we first got on, this was a very new layout, kind of a new experience. They were kind of filling out the crowd too. I thought it was gonna be like a 5 out of 10. It has grown to be like a 6 or a 7 now that I've got the layout, I've got the flow, I've got kind of the idea of what they expect of their guests. So it has gotten better.
I couldn't disagree more. For me, this is gonna be like a 2 out of 10. I don't like the ship. I felt like other than the staff that we highlighted, like our room steward and the kids club staff and the people in Chocolate Center, the rest of it was a nightmare. We're trying to book tickets for the suite show that we called to try to book like it says on the thing. They didn't know what to do. They told us to go to guest services. We went to guest services. They told us to go to dining. Went to dining. Dining told us we had to go to the theater. We went to the Carousel Theater to book it. They said we had to go back to guest services. Went to guest services. And then that guest services agent sent us to a French restaurant on the promenade. And that's where we ended up booking it because of course it's in the French restaurant on the promenade. Why wouldn't it be? Everything was a thing on board this ship. It was a hassle. Finding your way around the ship was a hassle. Dinner was subpar. The pandemonium leaving the theater sucks. The pandemonium up inside the marketplace buffet was not great. There's too many people on this ship. This ship is sailing with the same amount of people as an Oasis class ship and doing it poorly. We just got off Utopia, and comparing these two side by side, there is no comparison. If I'm comparing them side by side for a similar experience, Utopia wins hands down every single day. This ship is a 2 out of 10 and they're a 10 out of 10. So like I said, we did sail on the MSC Seashore and really liked it. Like we enjoyed it and we've recommended that ship multiple times to people. So now I'm starting to question, well, was the reputation deserved and was it a fluke on the Seashore, or is this the exception to the rule? So we already booked Seaside coming up in a couple months, and we're gonna go try out Seaside and see how it compares to Grandiosa and Seashore to finally be the tiebreaker and give us a definitive opinion as guests, not just as a travel agent, on board the MSC ships and giving you guys experiences. Now, obviously, this wasn't Yacht Club, and that does tend to change things, but just by the numbers, most guests sailing MSC aren't doing Yacht Club. Well, we hope this review is helpful. We try to be honest with you guys. We give you the good, the bad, the ugly, the truth. If you found this review helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. We appreciate you guys so much. As always, you can use the QR code right here to have Amy book the perfect cruise on the perfect itinerary for you, maybe even aboard an MSC ship. As always, we appreciate you, and we will see you on the next one.